we got a bill from
Okay.
his school and it was only room and board. And we're like,
Oh.
what's this all
Uh-oh.
about? So I was like, Timmy, can you please go look at your schedule? And he's like, my schedule is blank. I was like, oh, really? It is? So then like last week he spent all his time trying to get he still hasn't gone back. Brockport doesn't start until
Mm,
next Monday.
yeah.
So he's on a wait list, I think, for one class, but I'm just kind of like, dude, just like type the people, everybody's there, like everybody's starting to answer their emails again, like
Hmm.
go ahead and like email the teacher in a class that you're on the wait list for and just be like, hey, like I really want to take your class, like just checking in. I don't know what he needs to do, but
Yeah. No, that
he,
sounds like the right steps. And then make sure his advisor knows in case there's like something else he could take as
mhm,
a backup. But yeah, oh man, I'm
crazy.
jealous. I wish we didn't start back. We start back so early. Like
How
our
long you guys been back?
students, they started their classes on the 6th.
Oh
So they
wow.
have like very little break.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and Timmy has too much break. So like he's been home.
Yeah.
He's been home. It feels like he's been home since Thanksgiving. He went back in between,
Wow.
but it's like it feels like
Oh,
he's
okay.
just been coming home since then. But
Yeah.
I think it was maybe the week before Christmas he was off, and he's
Hmm.
been home since then. So it's a good solid month and some change. It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And he needs the break, but at the same time,
Hmm.
like his focus is just
Yeah.
on the wrong
Yeah,
things right
it's
now. He's very like interested in saving the world on his computer games,
oh.
So yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
yeah, I
stuff.
know. There is a happy balance, right? Like if it's too long, but it's still like just a winter break, so they don't have enough time to find like a job, you know,
Yeah,
after
yeah,
the holidays. There's not much time, but then they're just kind of like, all right, what am I doing? Not really much I can do that's productive. The holidays are over. Everyone else is
yeah.
back at school,
Mm-hmm.
and our kids just get home. Like the last final exam that we had was on the 19th.
Oh wow.
And I had a student that his home is his family lives in Kenya
Oh wow.
and was really freaking out because he talked to his faculty about if he would have his final, like early on in the semester, if he would have his final after a certain date. They both seemed pretty sure, even though they didn't commit. And then they got scheduled for after that date, and his parents had already booked his flight.
Oh no.
And I think it all worked out in the end, but this poor kid was so stressed out. And his backup plan, if he couldn't figure it out with the faculty, because there's nothing he could do with the flights, like
Mhm.
got the non-refundable. And his backup plan was to just stay here because he couldn't
Oh
afford
wow.
to get a different flight, and then he
Oh
would just
no.
basically lose the cost of the flight he already paid for. So
Oh,
luckily it worked out, but it was a close call. And to some extent, like people are understanding, but it also is to the point where like they also say like, well, you should have waited until the schedule came out. There's no guarantees. So
yeah,
it's that harshness that comes through and like good planning, but it's
yeah,
also hard because it's very
yeah.
expensive the closer they get to the break to buy those
Mm-hmm.
tickets.
Yum,
And
yum.
yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
life of
so
a college
frustrating.
student.
Yeah, yeah. They've got it. I mean, it is a complicated experience, especially because they're navigating it by themselves. It's really the first
Yeah.
time that it's all on them. I try not
Hmm.
to jump in too much.
Hmm.
I try to have Tim, I'm like, make the calls, like you call,
Yeah.
you email, you do all the things. But sometimes
Hmm.
I'm just like, I want to pull my hair out because I'm just like, oh, the next logical
Yeah.
step. He doesn't have enough like personal experience to do the next logical step. But I guess like he can
Yeah.
make these mistakes. But Tim and I always
Hmm.
talk about that. My husband, we always talk about the fact that these are very expensive mistakes.
Yeah.
Like he didn't drop a class that he was
Hmm.
failing. There were only five assignments.
Oh,
He didn't turn in the first assignment on time and didn't
yeah.
realize that there were only five. And if you fail the first assignment, basically you're gonna fail a class. Like there's no way, like unless you got complete perfects on the next assignments, like he
Hmm.
should let that was the drop ad lesson, but it was a very expensive lesson because he took that course, didn't drop it, failed it, and then had to retake it. And I'm like,
Mm.
that class costs thousands of dollars, and in his
Yeah.
head it just doesn't make sense. But I
Hmm.
mean, and it's not coming and it's not coming out of his pocket at this point. So
Yes.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, whatever, it's just a class. And I'm like, no, it's not high school where the classes are, paid
Hmm.
by the taxes and everything like that. But we're paying for these individual classes. So it's like
Yeah.
it's hard to learn these lessons. But I mean,
Yeah.
he's learning them and
Yeah.
getting through it. And we got through it too. So I mean,
Yeah.
everybody does it. So
Yeah, yeah. And well, it's expensive, but it's sometimes so when students come to me, they're sophomores or older because I don't work with freshmen, and sometimes I realize how hard our freshman advisors work because occasionally I'll work with a freshman and I'm like, "Oh boy." Like that transition year is so important. Like they have to learn so much about navigating these things on their own and like how to find things and who to talk to and it is that like, no, you're the one, like it's that transition between an adult's taking care of this,
mhm,
and as long as like I kind of know what's going on, it'll be fine. Like the adults will take care of it, right?
yeah.
And then they transition to that point at the end of the sophomore year where they get handed off to their faculty, which is like, no, I mean, yes, you may have thought you did the right steps, but if it doesn't get you the result that you needed or wanted, like usually it's transferring credits in, like that
Hmm.
they took between freshman and sophomore year, they'll take classes over the summer a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of steps involved in that process, and they work with their freshman advisors, but by the time they come back, they're not with those freshman advisors anymore. And sometimes they'll just say, oh, well, I don't know. Like, it's not there.
Hmm.
So the adults will take care of it. No, 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 no. You have to follow up.
Yeah. You are the adult. You are the person.
And it's not that you did anything wrong, maybe. It's but you have to acknowledge that something didn't work and
Mhm.
you have to say this involves me. So I need to follow up and find out what happened. I mean, that's my job to help them through that process. But I am not that process, right? Like it's not, I'm not the registrar's office. So like I have to help them like, okay, this is how you ask them to look into this. And yeah, because in the end, you're the one who's not going to graduate.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if this stays missing, even though in your head you did it, doesn't matter. It actually has to be on the transcript.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
that's
Me
our fun
too.
tangent, but I guess welcome back to our next
Welcome back,
podcast.
yes. So we've
Little break.
yeah, a little break,
Hmm.
winter break, Christmas, New Year's, all the holidays, everything in between.
Yep.
And now it's just cold. My kids are home from school
Yes.
today because of the wind chill.
Oh
So
my gosh, really?
yeah, yeah. I think
Gotta turn my
it's
heat
like
off.
-1 out right now. And then like with
Mhm.
the wind chill, it's like -17. So they didn't, well, at least this
Wow.
morning. But it's a
Hmm.
beautiful sunny day.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
Hmm.
But yeah, with the kids being home, it's
Hmm.
it's always an adventure. I went upstairs to get my computer and I was like, what's that smell? Somebody's cooking something.
Oh boy.
I'm like, all right, you guys take care of whatever you're doing up there. Like this does not, as far as the kitchen of mom, it is closed right now. I don't open for lunch. Like so I don't know what people are doing up there, but that's not my business. But I took them to a dentist appointment, which they had already had because it was just scheduled, but then I had to bring them home because they didn't have to go over to school. Otherwise, we were going to do this really, crazy, like my son was going to drive himself and my daughter back over to the high school, and I was going to try to drive my other kid back over to the elementary school. Like, yeah, it was going to be like a whole thing, but no problem. We just went to the grocery store, came home, and now they're enjoying life in the middle of the week being home.
Nice.
Like they haven't been out because they were out for 2 weeks for the
Hmm.
holidays.
Hmm.
But I did get on the rowing machine, so that's why I'm a little bit
Ooh,
like flushed because
good
I
for
was just
you.
trying to fit a little workout in.
Hmm.
And yeah, I set it for like 45 minutes, and I'm always kind of like, okay, like you get on there, and it's just like every minute is a microwave minute. You can
Oh my
literally just
God.
watch it like tick,
Yeah.
tick, tick. So
Yep.
like I was in the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do 5 minute chunks and I'll
Hmm.
alternate. I was going like 20, 22, 20, 22 because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do steady state. But then I got to the 19-minute mark and I'm like, okay, let's do a 19-minute pyramid just to finish this up. So I
Mm.
went 22 up to 28 and then back down to finish it out. So
Oh, nice.
you just never know what you're gonna do when you set the
Yeah.
machine for like all that time. It's kind
Hmm.
of like it's hard to kind of
Yeah.
figure out exactly how you want to wrap your mind around it. I mean, the other day, because I'm trying to be better because I haven't been exercising that much since really since Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Just like a lot of family stuff going on, just not having time. And so last night, not last night, but the night before last, I got on the machine and did two 30-minute pieces.
Mm.
And I set it for the two 30 minutes, or I set it for 30 minutes with 2 minutes rest. So I meant, okay, I'm gonna do it again. And I did the first 30 minutes and I was watching the because I have a little TV in my little exercise area. So I was watching the I Am Celine um
I am Celine. Oh,
documentary. Yeah.
oh, is that
Yeah,
good?
it's so yeah, it's so sad. And because she has like
Oh,
a neurological disease that is affecting her
yeah,
vocal cords, so she can't sing.
yeah.
But it's really, really interesting. So I was watching that and I did the first 30 minutes and then I was like, okay, I really don't feel like doing 30 more minutes, but I'm like, you know how like it goes for the 2 minutes and then it'll start the clock on the next piece. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, okay. So
Uh-oh.
I grabbed the handle and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like 5 or 10 minutes. And then next thing I knew, I was watching the show and the 30
Hmm.
minutes were over. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, I could just do like some really nice, easy, steady state as an
Hmm.
end of the day thing. Like exercising at the end of the day doesn't keep me up. Like
Hmm.
I have like a lot of clients who like if they exercise at the end of the day, it's just really hard for them to fall asleep. Like I'm
Hmm.
knock on wood, that's not me right now. So I'm like, just hopping on the machine for 15 or 20 minutes while you watch a show or, catch up
Hmm.
on news or listen to a podcast like us. You could be
Yeah.
listening to us on the erg right now, right?
Yeah, maybe. Let us
So
know.
let us know. Yeah, get those meters in, get those
Yeah.
endurance meters in.
Hmm.
And I think today we were going to talk about goal setting. So,
Yes.
like,
Hmm.
what does goal setting mean for you? Like for rowing
Mm.
wise at the beginning in January, like what do you start thinking about?
So when I was thinking about some of my goals and how I work best is, and I don't know when I learned this and why this strategy works well with me. Probably because I work in a very like front-facing position. Always have, student-facing, where there's a lot of transactions, like reports or like forms that have to be signed or whatever it is. I really seem to like the over under promise and over deliver strategy.
Okay,
And I
okay.
can see why the opposite would be better for other people, like to like aim high so that you reach high and like, meet those high standards. Like some people work best in that, but I kind of work best to like hit my goal and exceed it.
Okay. Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think, and I feel more comfortable with that because it's more realistic, it's more attainable, and that's one of those things with SMART goals. You want to make
Mhm.
sure it's attainable. So I think almost like a bucket list kind of thing. I want to do at least one um, real rowing race,
Okay.
on a body of water,
Okay. I
at
love that.
least one erg race. And I know we kind of have two coming up with our team. We have the head of the Charles 4702, which
Mhm.
is kind of like a virtual. You do it and then submit your time. And so I think as a group, we're planning on doing that. And then as a group, we're also planning on doing the Mohawk Meltdown, which is at Niskuna High School. That way, well, I can do one. I'm at this point planning on doing both, but if something happens, I at least get one. And I would love to get in a boat with you, Adrian. So
Yeah.
whether or not that checks off two of my bucket lists,
Yeah.
maybe it'll be for a race, maybe it'll just be in a boat, but at some
And we'll
point,
we'll
I
have to
think,
record. Well, we could record a podcast from the boat.
yeah.
We did to figure out how the all the like the microphones and how to get that all set up, but we could do it. That
I
would be
have a
fun.
GoPro and I
Okay.
have a GoPro stand for the boat, like a suction cup thing. So,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we should each be in the single
oh,
and
that would
each
be
have our
fun.
yeah, that that would
Yes.
be super fun. Okay, we'll put that on the list. I like that
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would love to do a race with you. That would be
Yeah.
super fun. Like either something
Hmm.
during the summer
Hmm.
or like a sprint race or like I don't
Yeah.
know,
We
head of
could
the
find.
Charles. I don't
Yeah.
know. Why not?
Oh boy, I don't know. Yeah, so that was one, and then the other one that's not exercise rowing related, but I do want to do is like build a history of you be rowing. And I know we talked about that in
Yeah.
our chat the other day, but I think so shout out to Dan Anderson if you're listening, Dan. You said that I inspired you to do that for Binghamton. but you actually inspired me because you told me that, and you've already done that for Burn Hill. So,
Very
so
cool.
figuring out the logistics and how to collect that information. And I've already started finding articles because I know we talked about maybe doing it in Wikipedia.
Hmm.
And for Wikipedia, you need to have like articles to reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've never done it. So
Hmm.
if anyone is listening and
Okay.
has experience building a Wikipedia art, I think it's called an article, not a page, but
Okay.
and then you have to cite your sources, obviously. So I'm gonna
There
try
totally
and
has to be someone who's graduated from UB who knows how to
yeah,
do that. There's,
that knows
if
how to
you're
do
out
that.
there,
Yeah, let
please
us
let us
know.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you have any articles that you've saved, I know I was looking for some. I found some. I know I have one that my parents saved
Okay.
from after my first states
Oh, okay.
race that we won the
I have
Novice
one
4.
article from the Spectrum. I know I have that. Some
Okay, good.
like in like a scrapbook. And it's
Okay.
hilarious because it's like says something like UB crew rowing all the way to the Peace Bridge. But you like if you're from West Side, you know
Oh.
where the Peace Bridge is like.
Wait, did we didn't row all the way from Veterans Park to the Peace Bridge.
It was like it's like literally like once you've
From
done like your pick drill, you're under the Peace Bridge. But it was hilarious. So it's like this picture of like I don't know, it's like an eight and a couple maybe like two eights and a four or something, and like with the backdrop of the Peace Bridge, and yeah, it's a Spectrum article. But I think
nice.
and for the people who are listening who don't know what Spectrum is, it's the school newspaper for UB. So I don't even know if they still call it that, but and I
I
wonder
don't know.
if they archived their articles. There might be some type of archive
Yeah, I
that
found
we can
some.
access. Okay.
Let me see if I can pull one up. But yeah, I did find some and I found some really fun pictures from back in the day. Uh-oh. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still
Oh,
here.
okay. I think because
Yeah.
I pulled up my other screen. If I can figure out how to share this, maybe we can even share it in here.
Okay. Can
The
I
heritage is where I found.
multiple present?
Yeah, let me oh shoot. Let me see. There you are.
Hopefully the
Okay.
positions or the permissions are correct so you can share, I think.
All right, share request.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Okay. Now I get to share. Um, maybe that.
Here it comes.
All right, now I just gotta move this so I can see it. Nope, that's there it is. Can you see that? The Buffalonian 2001?
Oh,
So
wow.
this is after you graduated, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think yeah, 2001, yeah.
Yep. So this I found, and there's a
And
couple pictures. I
that was
think,
your senior year, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. So Janet's in the front in that middle picture.
Aw.
And I'm behind her, and that's Sarah
Mm-hmm.
Vieira on the
Mm-hmm.
my left, looking at the picture. I think that's Katie. I think her last name is Langle now because she married Matt. Um, blanking on her maiden name. Gosh, I can't even point out who some of these are. And then the bottom, I think that's got to be down in Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, Augusta. What a fun time.
Yeah.
It was always so
So
cool. Do they
yeah,
still do like
there's
trips
our
there? I mean, does that space still host people? Like I mean, I forget what
hmm.
rowing club we were even out of, like when we were down there.
There is one. I think it's just the Augusta Rowing Club, I
The
think, or
Augusta
something.
Rowing Club.
Yeah, do you see that their old boathouse? Do you see that on the
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, I still like the pole barn idea for a boathouse. I mean, like, it's so easy. Plop it up and just kind of call it even. And
Yep.
yeah, that's so cool. Oh,
All right, there's one that I really want to find. There you are. There's the
oh
throwback. That's from
my God.
I think when Elizabeth was doing these on Instagram, the throwback, she created a page here, or maybe the team shared it here because it was probably around the same time.
Oh my goodness. That's so crazy.
Wait, there's one I really want to find if I can. Hmm. I don't know where it went. That's when they cut the
Cut the
team.
team from, yeah, so 2017. Wow.
But there is a place where you can get, oh, maybe it was here. No. You can get a roster for everybody that was
Oh
on
my
our
God.
team.
Wow.
I swear I saved it. I'll have to go back. Maybe I lost it. But I figured if we had even like a Google site and
Yeah.
we could keep track and just even like build it out over time.
Yeah.
Looks like Buffalo is pretty good this year. Let's see what year this was. This was not our time.
No, not so much.
This was 2010. So this
2010,
is, yep.
yeah.
So they looked like they did pretty well that year.
Wow.
All right, let
That's
me
pretty
stop.
cool. 641. Not bad for an eight.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Very, very awesome. Yeah, I think that this would be so much fun to have
Hmm.
like all that information kind of in one spot
Hmm.
and, encourage other clubs to do the same. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I have like this big dream of like everybody's always so big. I've probably talked about this, big on learn to row. Like, let's teach
Mm.
new people how to row. And I'm like 100% return to row.
Hmm.
Like I'm like if at one point or another I have enough brain space to create like a return to row program, like I will just like start emailing everybody and anybody who's ever been on a rowing team and be like, why aren't you rowing right now? Like, do you
Yeah.
pay for a gym membership? And they'd be probably like, yes. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, spend your money at your local boathouse,
Hmm.
like take a sculling class or, I mean, most people would, because a lot of teams don't teach people how to scull. I mean, like from
Hmm.
our generation, like sculling
Yeah.
was kind of like this like afterthought. And I've talked about the only reason I learned how to scull is because we got was it a pair? And they put the double riggers
Yeah.
in it one day,
Yep.
and like literally, I think it was Meg Barnes. It was like, "Oh, you can do your second practice in it," and I was like, "Oh, cool." So like Nicole and I went out, and she was like, literally the instructions were A, don't crash it, B, don't flip it, and C, left over right, have fun. Like that was it. Like that is like the extent of like my sculling like teaching slash instruction. Of course, like because you're a college student and you
Hmm.
have no like brain space for like injury or death or drowning, you just take the boat out and you go row it because you
Hmm.
just you know that you put the catch, blade in at the catch, you take it out at the finish. You just have two of them. You just don't have one anymore. And
Yep.
like and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure a lot more college students get taught properly now, but I know there's a whole class of us who like are
Hmm.
fearful of getting into a sculling boat because we just didn't learn that way.
Right. Yeah,
And
definitely.
and like it's
Hmm.
such a great way, like it's such a like an independent and free feeling thing to be
Hmm.
able to like grab your single, plop it in the water, and just go for a row. I mean, you can get
Hmm.
your workout in, or you can just go for a de-stress. I mean,
Hmm.
like it's just one of the most beautiful things, like during
Yeah.
the summer where it's nice and
Hmm.
you can get out there and you can just glide across the water. And I mean, the boat is so like I always feel like it's always so surprising in a single how responsive the boat is.
Yeah.
Like even from like going from like a double to the
Hmm.
single, it's
Hmm.
just like I can move my toe and I
Hmm.
can make
Yeah.
the boat move. It's just like the wildest thing. So
Yeah.
for all my friends out there who don't row right now, I am begging you to pick up. We'll get t-shirts made like return to row. I'm a return to rower. We'll have like we should have a return to row
Yeah.
like regatta or something or
Definitely.
return to row ergata, like, all
Yeah.
because we're competitive people, we're athletic
Hmm.
people. Everybody else is, everybody's doing something else. So like running
Hmm.
half marathons or triathlons or whatever, but they should get back to rowing. So
I
return.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even just hard, sometimes it's hard to find a place to do that, you know? Like, I mean,
Hmm.
Row 2K usually has a listing of clubs, but like you don't always know what kind of masters or if they even have masters. Maybe they're just more geared towards juniors and elite rowers. So it's
Yeah.
if we had like a place where you could go and just find, I just want to get out there on the boat again. I don't
Yep.
want to commit, maybe. I don't have time.
Yeah, like
Don't.
a non-committal return to
Mm-hmm.
row experience. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always thought of the idea of doing like a weekend. like a
Yeah.
weekend not
Retreat.
crash course, 'cause we don't want to crash any boats, but like
Yeah.
weekend like a weekend course like during the summer because you got to do it when it's just beautiful and nice
hmm
out, fun to be on the water, like sunset or sunrise, like and like have it be like Friday night and
hmm
then maybe like all day Saturday and then you get like certified flip test at the end of Saturday or something like that. Like
Ooh.
a day and a half. Like it
Yeah.
would be like because it would be people who already know how to row.
hmm
So it's not necessarily like it's not a lot of
You don't need like the amount of time and the learning
yeah,
curve.
it's
Yeah.
not yeah, the learning curve is like a lot less a lot flatter.
hmm
And I think that it would just kind of like I think clubs need to figure this out because
hmm
I think that this would really help with so many things like getting more people involved. Like you'd have a
hmm
list of people who are rowers
hmm
who may not necessarily want to be a part of the team or anything, but maybe they'd
hmm
volunteer at your local regatta
hmm
or they would like fill envelopes to send out for a fundraiser, or just like it would give you like this group of people who are rowing adjacent without necessarily having to ask the same 20 people you always ask when you have
Yeah.
something that needs to be done at the club. So I really think like return to row is like a really big thing that clubs should
hmm
be doing.
hmm
Just to kind of get this list of people who sort of kind of know what they're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I could definitely sit at the finish line for a
hmm
day on a regatta day. Could like def could set up the ergs on an ergata day. I
hmm
mean,
you're,
things.
yeah, you're putting it out there in the universe, Adrian. I like it. I think, I could definitely see us doing that for our team at home, and I would love to do something like that for Buffalo too.
Yeah. Yeah, that
hmm
oh my gosh, if like, big brain idea, but like if we could get together to do like a sculling day, learn to scull like a Friday evening with like
hmm
maybe like a meet and greet, cookout on Friday night after we do a little bit of teaching about rowing, do all day Saturday, flip test everybody in the creek and then send them and then they'd be able to send them off to their respective homes, like kind of like an alumni weekend, and just make sure everybody knows how to scull so that
hmm
they can get out there and do it for fitness. Because it's fun. It's
hmm
just, and I love how like sculling's like on your own time. Like I decide when I
Yeah.
want to go down to the boathouse. Like
hmm
if it's Saturday at 2 in the afternoon and I've got 2 hours I can kind of wiggle around with, or maybe I only have an hour. And so it
hmm
takes me 15 minutes to get the boat in. I can row out for about 15 minutes and I can row back for 15 minutes, put the boat away and go about my business. Like I don't have to be out there for 2 hours. Like
Right.
that's what I love about like being able to be in the single or like my doubles partner. Like we try not to do super short like practices. Like we try to leave like a 2 hour window so that we can get an hour and a half worth of rowing in.
hmm
But sometimes it's kind of like, okay, like I'm here, you're here, let's put the boat in. Let's do some sprinting. Let's do something fun
hmm
or gondolier. You paddle me, I paddle you, like that kind of thing. And like I can just lie down in the boat and be like, just look up at the sky. Like I love that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
That sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, you have to share your goals for the year. Have you thought
Oh,
about that?
my goals for the year. So we're running short on time. We got
Okay.
probably just we got 10 minutes left. So my goals. Well, I did the half marathons last year. I would like to
hmm
do one half marathon this year, potentially later in the year, or train for like Run Disney and do that in
Ooh.
January. That might
Okay.
be kind of fun. But Disney usually isn't a like a half marathon that you do for time.
hmm
So I really want to do a half marathon for time. So maybe I'll do one in the end of the year for time and then just train to have endurance to do the one in Disney in January because that's the one, the usual big run Disney thing. So that's kind of
hmm
one goal I was thinking about. Um, I have that single. So I
hmm
want to like get it out regularly. So like a couple times a month, I want to make sure I'm putting it in the water. It lives in my garage right now, so it has to ride on the top of the car to go to a body of water. But I want to probably take it to places that I don't row my double. My double's down at the river,
Mm.
and that's
hmm
where that stays. Um, so I was thinking. Definitely that. I was thinking maybe racing that single. There's a
Ooh.
like and the one thing I need to do is like it has like these like the oar lock is
hmm
pressurized. So you have to like tighten it so that it doesn't pop out. But I popped it out when I stuck
Oh.
the oar in the water and got it stuck in the seaweeds. I like totally pulled the oar lock off.
Ugh.
I'm gonna have to talk to
Okay.
Tyner and see if I can put a regular Orlock on there because I'm just like equipment failure. I'm just not there for it. So so if I
Is
do
it supposed to be a safety feature or something?
might be like so that you can't like snap the oars. I
Hmm.
don't know.
Okay.
Like maybe that was part of yeah, maybe it was a safety feature at one
Mm.
point. So I'd like to race that. There's a 1200 meter, 12 I think it's 1250 at Pittsford for Memorial Day. So I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I won't go fast in it. I
Hmm.
mean, it's just a matter of like I would love for it to be in a race,
Hmm.
I like I said, I won't be going very fast in it. I'd like to do that. Ergatas, we've got two coming up. I'm not sure if I can make either of them. One of them is in Rochester. It's the Bright and Burn. It's a really great experience. They do a really great job with it. If you're local and want to come out to Rochester and do the Bright and Burn, it's an amazing race. You should do it. That's like the first week in March. The second week in March is the Shamrock Row, which is
Hmm.
out of Buffalo. I'm not sure because my daughter has a synchronized swimming event, and
Hmm.
so it's either that first weekend or second weekend, and one of them is in Buffalo. So I'm hoping that it like lines up with the one where Buffalo's like it's actually in Buffalo, and I can do both at the same
Hmm.
time. Drop her off at her meet because there's a lot of downtime during synchronized swimming, so they kind
Hmm.
of there's a bunch of yeah. For other reasons, there's lots of downtime. So I'll have time to go row an ergata and then come back. So the ergata is one, rowing the boat regularly is another, rowing the single in the ergata or in the regatta for Memorial Day. Um, Staying healthy, just kind of
Hmm.
keeping myself together. Um, Possibly another half marathon for time, but when like having data and looking back, like I did my best half marathons when I only did one during the
Hmm.
year, not four.
Okay.
So,
Wow. Okay. So I have heard, I've never done it before. The only half marathon I've done was the Saratoga Paleo, and that
mhm.
has hills. But
Ooh,
I've heard that the Hudson Mohawk one is really one that a lot of people like
okay,
because it's pretty spread out. It's
okay,
not super crowded.
okay.
And then I think it's a very gradual downhill, pretty flat.
Ooh, okay,
So
okay.
a lot of people like it because I think it's a
Like a fast
Boston
course.
qualifier.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, and it's kind of ideal for that reason. It's not very hilly. It's, if anything, a little downhill, but it's mostly just the bike path. So
All right.
it's kind of boring. It's not like I like the Saratoga one because you're going through like the streets of Saratoga for most of it, and
Yeah.
then the Saratoga Park. But the Hudson Mohawk, I think, if you're looking for a good time, like time wise, I
Okay.
think you might want to check that. And you're always welcome to stay with me.
You. That'd be awesome. Like that's the fun part is like a lot of the half marathons, it's fun to travel, it's fun to stay
Hmm.
somewhere and do something different. And my sister's down in Tampa now, so that's why I was thinking about like this is a good time to try doing Run Disney. And
Hmm.
both my boys did the half marathon in the summer with me. Both
Okay.
of them were like, we're never doing half marathons again. This was awful. Well, I mean, they're typical boys. They didn't
Yeah.
train, and so
Hmm.
it was, yeah, it was a little bit of a, dumpster
Sure.
fire. Especially, I told them about like mile 6, 7, 8 that it was just gonna, it was
Hmm.
gonna get real, and it got real. So, Ed would love to run again with them when
Hmm.
they're ready.
Hmm. Hmm.
When
Yeah.
they're ready and when I'm ready. I don't know if those things will definitely will coincide ever, but yeah, I would just like to be able to, to continue to be like using my body in a physical way and just
Hmm.
kind of like I'm so grateful that I get to do all of these things.
Hmm.
I would love to get back to the Charles again. That was a
Hmm.
really, really fun time. Like I
Hmm.
think I may have only had like like it was so nice. The weather was so nice. The
Yeah.
wind was perfect. I'm just kind of like if I go back, will it be that good? Like it could rain, it could be cold, it could like snow.
Hmm.
So like if I could relive the Charles the same way I did it this past year, I would do it again. And I'd love to do it with you. Let's just like put a bid in, like for for a
Sure.
double, just see what
Uh,
happens.
are you willing to bow steer? I think
Oh
that's
no,
the
I was hoping
biggest.
you would steer.
No, see, that's the biggest thing. So the Dan Anderson, the one that I was talking about before, he rode in the head of the Charles for the first time in a single, and it's definitely a bucket list thing he said he
Yeah.
wanted to do, and he was really really nervous. He did great. I mean, he
Mhm.
I saw a video of him and he like navigated something so much better than someone else in the race. And like I I would be right there with him, very scared.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I think in a double might be okay, like better,
Mhm.
but I would never do it in a quad, maybe until I got through maybe a single or a double,
The quad
because a
is
quad,
just
you're
so
going so
fast.
much faster. It's
Ugh.
all about communication at the right time,
Yeah.
and then people doing what you want them to do.
Oh yeah.
It is just wait, I don't know. That would be terrifying to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a single and a double would be terrifying. So that would
Single
be
and
like
double would
four
definitely be
times.
terrifying. The quad, like you said, because of the speed. It's just like
Yes.
you
Not
can't
that any boat
correct
I'd
out of
be in would
that.
be going like super fast. It's just compared to like my comfort level. And then
Yeah, it's like
having to
it's fast for your comfort
navigate.
level. That's like kind of
Yeah.
where, yeah, like I'm always kind of whenever I'm in the quad, I'm just kind of like, I don't know if this is my cup of tea.
Mm-mm.
So many
No.
oars, so much potential for speed, and like people not listening. People love to row
Yes.
a quad like they're in an eight. Like, no, 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 no. We are all paying attention to where the boat is in space. Like,
Yeah.
not just my job, everybody's job.
Yeah.
Job to have like a general feel for like, maybe I shouldn't be like, nailing that right hand, like, and just like pulling us totally around to starboard. Like, maybe I shouldn't do that. Like, maybe the bow person wouldn't particularly care for that. So. I think we have like 1 minute left. Oh my.
Okay. All
So
right. Well, we'll be back soon. We've got
oh,
some more stuff to talk about. So thanks for listening if you're
yes.
listening and joining us.
And if you have any ideas, put it in the comments.
Hmm.
Shoot us an email. I'm rowing on the square at gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll respond. That like it's just me. It's a one-woman show. So so if you got questions or want to
Hmm.
hear about something or check out our we need to get an Instagram for this. We can put
Yeah, I know.
an
That was
Instagram.
my thought. We created
Yeah.
the Google email, so we got to get that out there and then to do the Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah. So coming soon, Instagram coming
coming
soon.
soon.
In the
Hmm.
meantime, I'm at Rowing on the Square on Instagram.
Hmm.
Also my Facebook business page too. So yeah, send me some information
Hmm.
and you have an Instagram for yours too, right? For
Yes, I do. It's College Advising by Kate. So you can look there. I have not been active, but that actually is another goal. I want to get that back going, get some more
yeah,
stuff up there. So yeah,
very cool.
College Advising by Kate at gmail.com or on Instagram. I think I called it the Instagram because I am of the Generation X.
Exactly. The Instagram. Well, fantastic. Kate, it was wonderful talking to you. And I hope everybody has a really, really great week, month,
Mhm.
whenever you're listening to this. Hopefully things are going really well. So,
All right.
all right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.